y'all, Dr. Jazz here, and I just wanted to start a new podcast. That's kind of unfair. I wanted to start back a podcast, is what it is. Me and one of my friends started a podcast called Culture Views, and we would just invite random people on, and we would just talk about things that were going on in the world, like anything that was popular on social media that week or last 2 weeks. We would kind of just have some social commentary about it. And things have been swirling around in my head about two topics specifically, and I just want to kind of get them off of my head and into the world. And I just want to be clear in saying I am the queen of, but I ain't got no kids though, but I'm not married though, but I ain't got no man, but I'm not a leader of a church. Like all these things, I definitely am clear in knowing that because I'm not in those positions, I cannot speak on behalf of those people. So yeah, if you want to comment and say, but you ain't never, I know I ain't never, okay? The tagline is actually, I say stuff, but what do I know, right? That is the tagline of this podcast, because I'm just talking and sharing my opinion, but what do I know? And yeah, so Culture Views, there are a few episodes on my Instagram, on IG. You can find me at Dr. J Wise. And that's probably where I'll post this. Like, I'm probably not gonna make a brand new Instagram for this. I probably am just gonna post the episodes on my Instagram page and on Apple and Spotify, and kind of just leave it there, because I don't really want this to be like a major thing per se. Yeah, it's just, I don't even know if it's going to be consistent. It's just when I have these thoughts that I want to get out of my head and ask your opinion and see what y'all feel about it. And that's what I am doing today. I just kind of want to see what y'all feel, what you're thinking about. Let me know, comment, share, all those type of things. Do the things you're supposed to do. And I cannot promise you any amount of episodes for any amount of time. I may do 4 episodes in 1 week. I may not have another episode for another 6 months. I don't know. It's just whenever I feel inspired to speak. And this episode has been burning in me, so I'll probably talk for about 15 minutes. These episodes won't be long because it's just me until I find someone to co-host with me. But yeah, the two things that have been burning and swirling around my head are accountability within like Christian communities and this random man from Atlanta. These are the two things that I've had thoughts about for a couple weeks now, and I thought I would talk about them. So when I say accountability in the Christian community, I am talking about there are 3 people that have been in my head. One is Pastor Tim Ross. He is the pastor of some church. I don't know. He has a pretty big following. He does a podcast, all this stuff. And he, as of late, has said a couple controversial, I guess he always says controversial things, but I don't really follow. Like, I know what's going on in social media world, but I really don't. I know that sounds weird, because most of my social media is like waxing videos or like hair videos, or like, it's not what it's supposed to be, right? It's not I don't have a pulse on the culture per se, but I like watching people get their arms waxed and pimples popped and hair scratched, right? Like, I watch stuff like that. So I don't know all the controversial things he said, but the 2 that have come across my TikTok or my Instagram or whatever, been texting me, were his conversations about cursing, profanity, and his statement comparing Jesus to a stripper. I don't want to talk about that just yet. I want to lay out the land of everybody, and then I want to tell you what I want to say. And then there's this conversation about Dante Bowie. Again, I have not actually watched or listened to the song myself. I just saw a TikTok with a clip of the video, and it did look like women were winding in the video. And then, like, you know how your feed does. Like, the very next clip or something was about him on a podcast justifying the new song that he let out. For those of you all who don't know, Dante Bowie used to be a member of Maverick City, which is a large contemporary Christian music group. But he, for lack of better words, got put out for some of the things that he has said and done. So him putting out a song called Wine Me or Wine With Me or something like that does not shock me. Okay. And then last but not least, there's an artist named Jordan Armstrong, and he has an album that just came out called, I think, Christian Girls Love R&B or something like that. And my friend sent it to me, and we were just kind of having a conversation with it with our group chat. And so there are a couple things that have been on my mind. So the first one is about leadership. As someone who has been in church leadership, I don't even want to say my whole life, like a long time. I'm not right now, but for a long time, I've been in some form of church leadership, whether it be regional, local, or even national level. I've been in some level of church leadership. There are certain things that, although I may not see them as sin or wrong, that I do not say and do, because I know that there are people who are still working out their faith. As a leader, and in this moment, I'm thinking about Tim Ross. Although you may not see, and again, I'm not sharing my opinion whether I think profanity is right or wrong. Like, that's not what this is about. As a leader, if you know that there are people who struggle with profanity, and you know that people are struggling with whether they should use it or not, or is it holy, or the verses that talk about vulgar language, right? If you are someone like that as a leader with the following that he has, you just shouldn't do it. That's my opinion, right? Whether you agree with it or not, whether you think it's stupid, whether you think people need to just get over it, you just shouldn't do it, because there are people around you in your flock, right? You're their shepherd, and your job is to protect them. And I'm just confused about how he doesn't see that, or maybe he doesn't care, or whatever. So that's interesting to me. And then, so leadership is one thing, and I'm thinking about Dante Bowie and also Jordan Armstrong with that as well, right? They both have platforms and musical artists. So what does it mean to do those things? So that's my first thought. Second thought is, but we all, not like we all sin and fall short of the glory of God, because that's not what I want to say. What I want to say is we all are human, and we all have different facets of ourselves. So the only reason I did not enjoy Jordan Arndt, well, there are two reasons. I personally did not enjoy his album was because it just not my style of Christian music. Yeah, I don't really do poppy Christian music. That's not really my thing. I'll do the rap. I'll do the Afro beats. I'll do, of course, worship. Of course, gospel. Right. I do those things, but I'm not really a poppy Christian music person. So that's the first thing. And second, he did have a song on there called Jealous. And I was kind of like, nah. I feel like when you have a leadership position, you cannot even ingest, play around with things that the Lord tells us not to do, right? The Lord tells us not to be jealous. And then you have a song named Jealous, right? So those are the things that made me not like the album. But you might like it. You might think it's great. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, I'm rambling. I'm not rambling, but the point I'm trying to make is, we all have different sides of ourselves. I listen to R&B music. The name of the album is Christian Girls Like R&B Music. I listen to R&B music. I went to Usher's concert in March, and I had the time of my life. It was amazing. So we all have different sides of ourselves, and I think it's unfair that we persecute people for showing theirs. Just because you don't show yours, because you don't show the world, who you are in all facets, it's unfair to persecute, to me, Jordan Armstrong or Dante Bowie for being multifaceted. But again, this is on the backdrop of leadership, right? Although I feel like there's nothing wrong with going to the Usher concert, if someone came up to me and challenged me on it, I would have a dialogue with them, and I would empathize with their points, because the Lord has called me to be a leader, right? I'm not going to say, you're just wrong, you don't understand. Like, I would not do that, because that's not what real leaders do. And I think that's another reason why I struggle with anyone claiming to know God or claiming to rep Jesus. that instead of engaging with people, they kind of just defend their stance in a way that's not kind. Um, but that's my personal opinion. Anytime I see like a fake apology from someone in the Christian community, I'm kind of like, that's not what we're here to do, right? I think it's okay to dialogue with people and say, I understand, why you were hurt. I get it. Instead of just saying, I'm grown or whatever they be saying. Anyway, so I said all that to say, when it comes to Christians that we look for leadership from, we also have to remember they're human. I'm not justifying the actions of any of these men. Let me be clear. I am not justifying the actions of any of these men. This is not about them. It's about us as a community and how when we see someone do something outside of what we believe is okay, how we're so quick to persecute. Even though, right, 2 years ago you was cussing. Or right before when you got on your car on Sunday morning, it was on the R&B station, right? And you changed it to the Christian station on your way to church. And I think that's why it's so interesting to me how quick we are to persecute people when we kind of are living in this world as well. Again, I'm okay with holding people accountable. Again, they are leaders, so I get it. But I just want us to think about that. How quick we are to say, how dare he make an album called Christian Girls Love R&B? Because no, they don't. I don't like R&B. But you used to, right? And everybody's not where you are. So allowing people to grow and allowing people to be sanctified, because sanctification happens over and over and over. And different parts of us get sanctified at different rates. So just giving people freedom. That's that. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about is this random man from Atlanta situation. And there are two aspects I want to talk about with that as well. The first, both of them are accountability, but it's accountability from two different ways. So the first is the random man in Atlanta. So if you don't know anything about it, there's this girl on TikTok named Morgan, and she started off just kind of making funny videos about her life and being a single mom. And she would do like outfit checks, and she would like shirt from H&M, pants from Ross, all these bags, right? Because, she would have baby bags, work bags, all this stuff. And this baby from a random man in Atlanta. Like, that was a joke. The videos were really cute, actually. I would watch the videos. And she would just talk about just single motherhood. She would never really bash him for real. She would just be like, be careful out there, ladies. Wrap it up. Like, she would say stuff like that. Well, he kind of started getting a big head, like she's making me famous, blah, blah. So he revealed himself. And apparently he has like 7 baby mamas that have come out and kind of just reiterated what Morgan has said, that he is a deadbeat dad and he don't take care of none of his kids, right? So the first accountability is about him. So when I lived in Atlanta, there was a guy who worked at Home Depot, who was from Ohio, who had, I can't remember, y'all. I know it was an even number, and I knew it wasn't 4, and I know it wasn't 10. I think he had like 6 or 8 kids. And he could not understand why I did not want to go out with him. Like, he was so flabbergasted that I was telling him no. And let me be clear. I am not against dating a man with children, but there are clear rules that I have in my head that I will not share on this podcast. But dating a man that has 6 kids with several baby mamas that he does not take care of them, you off the list, right? And so we would have conversations, and I would just ask him questions like, so when do you see your children? And he would be like, well, I FaceTime them. And I said, okay, but like their moms are bathing them, putting them to bed, waking them up, taking them to school, feeding them, putting clothes on their back. Like, when do you do those things? And he was like, oh, no, I don't do that. And I send money when I can. Like, that's what he said to me. And I was like, okay. And then he told me he actually moved from Vegas before he moved to Atlanta. And I was like, so you've been away from your kids for a long time. Like, you have been living your life away from these children, and no one is holding you accountable for it. Like, he worked at Home Depot. We met because I was renting a truck because I needed to move some stuff. He ain't working at CNN. He not working at Delta. He not working at He not working at places that you gotta be in Atlanta to work at. You can work at Home Depot all over this country. So I was genuinely flabbergasted. And then he was like, well, we can be friends. And I was like, no, we cannot. Because none of my friends are deadbeat dads, right? I have plenty of male friends. Actually, none of them got kids. Why don't none of y'all got kids? Let me make sure. Oh, one of them just had a baby. That baby like 4 months old. But I'm pretty sure that none of the male friends that I have would be deadbeat dads. Like they would all take care of their responsibility. So I can't, like, I believe that if I'm your friend, not that I condone all your behaviors, right? I have friends that do things that I don't do, or I do things that they don't do, right? Not saying that, but I have to support you. And I cannot support you I cannot be your friend. I can't see myself going to lunch with you knowing you ain't paid child support. You know what I'm saying? And I just am confused about the lack of accountability that we have for these men. We just allow them to go around having children, and women, like, if I didn't date him, somebody else probably did, right? So there is some woman in Atlanta that started dating him, and that was okay with the fact that he has I'm gonna say 6. I don't think it was 8. 6 kids in Ohio that he does not take care of. Like, there's somebody that would do that. And the lack of accountability is crazy. And I've decided that I'm not a girl's girl. I know that's like a controversial thing to say, but I'm not, because some people be tripping. Like, I'm not a girl's girl. I am a wisdom girl. I am a logic girl. I am a use common sense girl, right? Like, I'm not a girl. Maybe I don't know what girl's girl means, but I'm not a girl's girl. I do be supporting women. So if that's what it means, then I support you. Go ahead, girl, with your business. I support you. But I can't support all women. Some of y'all tripping. So that is one accountability, and that nobody is holding this man accountable, the random man from Atlanta, because I haven't watched any of that stuff either, to be honest. But from what I hear, all the women are agreeing with Morgan, saying, nah, like, what she's saying is true. Like, she ain't lying. So there's that. And then the other accountability is not necessarily about Morgan, it's about her community. So Morgan was young when all this happened. I think she was like 21, younger. She was still an adult though. And I'm just confused about where her community was, because I had people around me who would be like, no, that's dumb. Right? Like, whether it was my parents or other male friends. Oh, I got a couple male friends with kids. I forgot all about them. But anyway, like, I have friends in my life. Oh, that was country. Life. That will be like, nah, that's stupid. You know, why are you paying this man's bills? I've never paid a bill for a man that I dated. I've never, well, I mean, I would buy stuff, you know, like, we're out, like, oh, I'll buy it because you buy everything else, you know, but I've never been the source of your living for a man. There we go. I've never been the source of a man's living before, and I am just taken aback that there's no one around this young lady, or she's not talking about it. That part of the story hasn't developed to say, hey, it's not worth it. And I'm trying to figure out what within myself would make me feel like it was okay to do that. Is it loneliness? Is it the I want to have a man? Right? There are so many reasons why we make questionable decisions. But I thank God that I have family and friends, because they do it now. Even with the men that I talk to now, they be like, Jasmine, no. Or, Jasmine, it's your fault. Or, you need to do better. Or, you know, whatever. And I just pray that when I have children, I can be a safe space for them, so that when they do tell me, like, what's going on, I'll be like, no, kick that man. Like, what's wrong with you? Kick that man out your house. You know? And I just pray that I teach my children wisdom, and I teach my children intentionality, and I teach my children what is right for them. And I'm not saying don't take care of a man that you are married to, right? Like, I get it. People get hurt on their jobs. People lose their jobs. Companies close. I get it. Life happens. You have a bad year in your business if you're an entrepreneur. I understand that. So that's not what I'm saying. But this is not your husband, right? Like, it's not your husband. This man has made no commitment to you, obviously, right? Because now we're having this conversation about him being in Atlanta and you being wherever you are. So yeah, I'm just thinking about accountability. Accountability on all fronts. Accountability for him to just keep going around making babies. Accountability for her of like, girl, where was your people at? And let's just make wise choices. And that baby's so cute though. If y'all look for her on TikTok, he's so cute. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Yeah. Thanks for listening to this first episode of Culture Views, where I say stuff, but what do I know? I am not a music artist. I am not a pastor, and I am not someone's baby mama. So what do I know? I hope y'all have a great day, and I'll see y'all on the next episode, whenever that's going to be. Bye.